It's hard to believe what people think they can get away with, from attacking ex-girlfriends, pushing someone into traffic.
It's a little bit clearer here where we clearly see your hand on the jacket. Explain what you're doing there.
To plain murder, or even stealing a weapon from an armed sheriff.
The female reached toward the deputy's firearm, retrieved the firearm from the deputy's holster.
And others are just unspeakable.
Never did any of us ever think that it was going to be kids from the neighborhood that come and attack her.
See what you think of these shocking cases. 5 deadly attacks caught on CCTV. But before that, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Killer smashes head of old man with rock. A horrifying incident unfolded in India on September 12, 2018, and sent shockwaves through a community when a highly disturbing video spread rapidly across social media platforms. Any sense of safety for those living in the Ramanathapuram district in Tamil Nadu was shattered when a heartless assailant brutally ended the life of an elderly man as he lay sleeping. The footage reveals a perpetrator stealthily entering the gallery where the older man named Akom rested, presumably after a hard day's work in the same household. The attacker mercilessly bludgeoned Akom with a rock before callously looking through his pockets in search of valuables. Authorities have been swift to respond, with the CCTV footage submitted for thorough analysis in hopes of identifying and apprehending the perpetrator. In the wake of this senseless act, outraged locals have united in demanding justice, urging law enforcement to expedite the investigation and quickly bring the perpetrator to justice. Dennis Akpomedaye. In May 2022, CCTV footage shows a man wearing a hood and balaclava waiting for a 21-year-old university student known as Anna to finish her late-night shift at a restaurant in Ealing, West London in the UK. It then showed him following 2 people who had no idea of the danger they were in. Dennis Akpomedaye, 30 years old, had traveled more than 140 miles from Newport, South Wales, after 21-year-old student Anna Jertkovic had left him. She'd tried to start a new life in London. Dennis attacked Anna in an alleyway as she and a friend walked home from her job. He stabbed her 40 times in what was described as a ferocious and savage assault. He then used the blade to saw at Anna's neck. He did all of this in front of her terrified new boyfriend, Jack Masco, who also worked with her at the restaurant. When the police arrived, a trail of blood led detectives from the scene to a nearby pond, where Dennis had dumped items he'd stolen from Anna. Using CCTV footage, forensic evidence, and pinging cell phone towers, the police caught up with Dennis within 24 hours. He was arrested while trying to escape back to Wales on a coach. Under questioning, Dennis gave a truly bizarre excuse for his crime, claiming he was a sword performer and the horrendous attack was really an accident during a sword trick. Naturally, this was dismissed as a complete lie. The Crown Court heard how Dennis had traveled to London 2 days prior to the barbaric and cowardly attack and stalked her before attacking. He was branded an even bigger coward by Anna's sister when he refused to appear in court for sentencing. He was too afraid to face her bereaved family. He committed a crime, but he is not able to face us. He's not able to look us in the eyes. Jack Masco continued to suffer from severe depression and other PTSD symptoms after the attack. He said that it caused
indescribable memories that can never be erased. It was dark and cruel. I will never unsee what he did to her.
The case was considered very unusual for its brutality and the absence of any mitigating factors such as mental disorder or disability. Anna's attacker was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 29 years. 2 young attackers. In the quiet suburban streets of Houston, Texas, where neighbors typically exchange pleasantries and children play freely, a sinister incident unfolded, shattering the tranquil community. On March 24, 2024, the peaceful facade gave way to horror as a 59-year-old woman found herself in a battle for survival, victimized by an unthinkable act of violence perpetrated by 2 young boys. As authorities scrambled to piece together the events that led to to this shocking occurrence, the neighborhood grappled with questions of innocence, mental health, and the fragile nature of security within their midst. What triggered the tragedy lies in a seemingly innocent encounter caught on surveillance cameras, revealing two young boys engaging in conversation while riding their bikes. Little did anyone anticipate the sinister turn this interaction would take, as tensions simmering beneath the surface came to a boiling point. Residents such as Maddie Monslave, a witness to the escalating turmoil within the neighborhood, shed light on the strained relations and the homeowner's deteriorating mental health.
Lately, it's been getting worse. I guess as her mental illness gets worse, her brain gets worse, so she starts doing crazier things. Just this morning, she was stealing things from her yard guy's truck and was vandalizing their vehicle.
The calm facade shattered when the boys, aged just 7 and 12, were shooed away by a neighbor after a heated discussion with the woman and returned 10 minutes later. But they had dangerous intentions that nobody could have predicted. The neighbor was completely shocked.
Never did any of us ever think that it was going to be kids from the neighborhood that come and attack her.
In moments, the chaotic attack unfolded, leaving the victim critically wounded as her tiny assailants fled. Luckily, the woman's brother, who visited frequently, soon found her in the garage and raised the alarm in time for her to get help. As authorities swiftly responded to the scene, the gravity of the situation became apparent. Charges were laid against the 12-year-old assailant, while his 7-year-old brother, shielded by the law's minimum age requirement, evaded any charges, at least so far. The mother of the accused 12-year-old acknowledged the gravity of the situation and blamed her son's mental health struggles. She said, "I'm sorry to the family. I'm very sorry that my son committed the incident." As the neighborhood reels from the shockwaves of violence, residents are understandably fearful of what the children in their quiet neighborhood might still be capable of. Oriel Gray. This next footage shows how just a single second of anger can lead to tragic consequences. In Huntington, in the UK, on the afternoon of October 20th, 2020, a confrontation on the pavement of a local ring road led to a tragic event. Oriel Gray, then 49, encountered Celia Ward, a 77-year-old cyclist and retired midwife. CCTV footage captured the moment Gray, angered by the presence of the cyclist on the pavement, shouted an expletive and made an aggressive gesture towards Mrs. Ward. This altercation resulted in Celia falling into the road and being unavoidably struck by a car, leading to her immediate death. Oriel fled the scene and offered no help, even going grocery shopping immediately afterwards. In the police interview, it was also clear that Oriel may have shoved Celia Ward in the shoulder, which meant she was directly responsible for the deadly fall into the busy main road. The CCTV pictures were very clear about what had really happened that day.
And what you can see here, if you look really carefully, is on the left arm, upper arm of the cyclist. You can see your fingers on the sleeve of the jacket.
I can't see it.
It's a little bit clearer here where we clearly see your hand on the jacket. Explain what you're doing there.
The case was brought before Peterborough Crown Court, where Gray was tried for manslaughter. The court heard how Gray resented the presence of cyclists on the pavement. Despite having cerebral palsy and being partially sighted, the judge stated that these conditions did not explain Oriel Gray's actions. She was found guilty and sentenced to 3 years in prison. The incident raised questions about the safety and shared use of pavements by pedestrians and cyclists, with Cambridgeshire County Council reiterating the need to review the location. Mrs. Ward's husband, married to her since 1967, expressed the deep pain of her absence, while the driver of the car that hit Mrs. Ward was left feeling an immense sense of guilt. The case highlighted the importance of consideration for all road users and the potentially devastating consequences of aggressive behavior. But next up, we have an even more deliberate and aggressive attack caught on film. Teen disarmed deputy and used it on herself. Of all the places for someone to take a weapon from a police officer, this is the craziest. In the LA County Sheriff's Department station in the City of Industry, a 17-year-old girl walked past a deputy sheriff. What happened next was truly horrible. You can see she was able to disarm the deputy and, even more tragically, turn the weapon on herself. Lieutenant Art Spencer explains what happened.
The female reached toward the deputy's firearm, retrieved the firearm from the deputy's holster. During the altercation, it is alleged that the female suffered from a self-inflicted gun wound with what we believe to be the deputy's firearm.
She was being fostered by a local family. The family attorney and also foster father to the dead girl's sister said,
"She and our daughter were very close. Very sweet girl. I can only wish her strength because this is something that is none of us saw coming in any way."
They didn't want to identify her at first, but was later named as Johanna Gonzalez. Gonzalez started life in La Puente, located on the outskirts of the City of Industry. Her father has passed away, and her mother currently resides in El Salvador. The incident is believed to be connected to a family disturbance call earlier that day. Johanna's foster parent had reported her suffering from a mental health crisis. Before deputies could arrive at the scene, she had left on foot. Johanna later appeared at the LASD station, leading to the tragic action she chose to take.
Knowing her size, her physical capabilities, I find it incredibly hard to believe that she would be able to disarm a deputy who had their weapon properly holstered.
A GoFundMe has been established to help raise funds to pay for her funeral. Man stabbed 18 times in 25 seconds. On January 4th, 2019, a London-bound train departed from Guildford, Surrey. On it was IT consultant Lee Pomeroy, age 51. He never would have expected what happened next. Just 5 minutes after boarding the train, Lee was brutally attacked by Darren Pensy, a fellow passenger. The tragic incident unfolded when Pomeroy and his son entered the same carriage as Pensy. A heated argument ensued, likely triggered by Pomeroy and his son blocking Pensy's way in the aisle. Pensy responded with derogatory language, escalating the situation. Lee demanded an apology, but tensions continued to rise. Pensy even made a chilling statement on his mobile phone, saying, "I'm gonna kill this man." Pomeroy's 14-year-old son witnessed the horrifying attack. Pensy, who had a history of violence, knifed Pomeroy 18 times in a quick, frenzied assault. Inevitably, Lee lost his life. The confrontation culminated in the savage that claimed Pomeroy's life. During the trial, Pensy admitted having a knife but denied murder, claiming self-defense against the 6'3" tall victim. But the evidence painted a different picture. The jury found him guilty of murder, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 28 years. Pensy's girlfriend, Chelsea Mitchell, was also found guilty of assisting him in evading police after the attack. Following the trial, British Transport Police Detective Chief Inspector Sam Blackburn described Pensy as devious and dangerous. His previous convictions, including another man in the neck, so this wasn't his first rodeo. So remember, you never know who you're going to meet on public transport. Which case made you feel most sick? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more crazy videos. Thank you for watching Trapdoor Crime.